Mike, thank you for being with us here today. It's good to have you.
I'm doing very well, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a good day, I think, for people who want to see lawfare take a back seat in Washington, D.C., where you are located right now. What's your reaction to the ruling that Trump has immunity for official acts as the president of the United States?
This is a monumental decision by the Supreme Court, one of its most important decisions ever, because this is so much bigger than Donald Trump. This is about the presidency. The holding is that the president of the United States, any president of the United States, is immune from criminal prosecution for his official acts, not his personal conduct, his official acts. And if the Supreme Court did not rule this way today, does that mean the Trump 47 Justice Department can prosecute President Obama for capital murder, for drone striking to American citizens? Does that mean the Trump 47 Justice Department can prosecute President Biden for his illegal mass parole of illegal immigrants who are countries that resulted in? Does that mean the Trump 47 Justice Department can prosecute George W. Bush for lying about weapons of mass destruction and the resulting hundreds of thousands of deaths in Iraq? The Supreme Court correctly held that there's presidential immunity, just like there's immunity for members of Congress for their official acts, just like there's immunity for federal judges for their official acts.
I want to ask you about some of the coverage and wording that I've consumed here as of this morning, that the Supreme Court is not going to infer intent in actions of the executive. And I want to ask you about what that means, especially in a time where there is a foregone conclusion about everything Donald Trump does, from the activist left and those people who exist in the bureaucracies of the Department of Justice. They already know that Donald Trump is evil. They know everything he does is evil. So all of these other things kind of fall in line. And the Supreme Court came out today and said, we're not going to assume intent in any way, shape, or form when judging on these acts. How important is that for Donald Trump's ability to achieve justice?
It shows you that they're applying precedent from prior cases. There is a case about civil immunity from 40 years ago in the Nixon case, where they held that the president is immune from civil prosecution for his official acts, including the outer perimeter of his official acts. And you don't look at why the president did what he did. You just look objectively. Is this something that's a presidential act, or is it not a presidential act? For example, Jack Smith said that Donald Trump for allegedly trying to contemplated firing his acting attorney general. That can only be done as the president of the United States, and it doesn't matter why he was firing his attorney general. It's the act, the fact that he was contemplating firing his attorney general is immune from criminal prosecution because that is a presidential act.
We're speaking with Mike Davis. He's the founder and president of the Article 3 Project. I encourage you to go to article3project.org to see more of what he and that institution is doing. Part of the key element of what's taking place here in Washington, D.C. with Jack Smith surrounds the fake electors scheme, if you will. It's what a lot of people are referring to it as. How does the fake electors portion of this trial fit into what happens next to Donald Trump?
They're not fake electors, as you know. They're alternate electors, because what happened was there was a challenged election. And in order to challenge the election, you have to send your electors to the Electoral College in order. And so if you prevail on your legal challenge, you have people there who can actually vote for you. Fake electors would mean that Rudy Giuliani had the real electors tied up in his trunk and sent in the fake electors with fake IDs. That's not what happened. Remember, Democrats objected to Republican wins in 1960, 1968, 2000, 2004, 2016. You didn't see them getting charged with a bogus legal theory because they objected to the election. And that's what now the D.C. Obama judge Tanya Shucken is going to have to decide, what she should have decided in the first place, but she was too partisan and dumb to do this. What does Jack Smith allege that Trump did in his official capacity? For example, firing his acting attorney general versus in his personal capacity. There's going to be an evidentiary hearing on those issues. That ruling by Chutkan's immediately appealable again to the D.C. Circuit and to the Supreme Court. The bottom line is this case is not going to trial before the election. Trump's going to win. His attorney general is going to dismiss this thing, and this thing is going away.
Mike Davis speaking with us right now. I want to shift gears a little bit because today is a very big day for one Steve Bannon. I'm going to play this clip here from earlier today. Here,
let's listen. 2024, we are outside of the federal prison in Danbury, Connecticut, and you're hosted tonight by federal prisoner number 05635-509, formerly Stephen K. Bannon. My co-hosts tonight are Jack Posobiec and Charlie Kirk. I want to thank Turning Point USA for helping us put this on. Of course, Real America's Voice, Rob Sig, Parker Sig, the entire team in Denver and everywhere. I really want to thank everybody.
So Steve Bannon is going to federal prison. I want to know, Mike Davis, what your legal opinion is of what is happening to Steve Bannon. Why is he going to jail? Such a high-profile person who's had such great influence on the Trump campaign. Why of all of the people that the left chooses to prosecute, why is Steve Bannon going to jail?
President Biden and Merrick Garland want Steve Bannon in jail because he is the leading voice of the MAGA movement. He is the general of the MAGA movement, and they want him in jail for the next 4 months before the election instead of getting out there and making the case for President Trump. This is political persecution. It's political prosecution. We've had constitutional executive privilege going back 250 years to George Washington. So presidents can get candid advice from their advisors inside of government and outside of government. And the Biden Justice Department, President Biden and his Justice Department eviscerated that. And these House Democrats held Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon in contempt of Congress after Trump claimed executive privilege. And what that means is that while they did this, while they went after Navarro and Trump, Merrick Garland gave amnesty to Hunter Biden, who had no privilege, who did a drive-by press conference instead of responding to a subpoena. You also saw that Merrick Garland gave himself a get-out-of-jail-free card when Merrick Garland refused to comply with the subpoena for Rob Hur's tape of his conversation with Biden after Garland produced the transcripts. He refused to produce the tape. That is a frivolous claim of executive privilege. So when Trump's back in office, Merrick Garland must face prosecution for contempt of Congress. So should Hunter Biden. In the meantime, House Republicans should hold Merrick Garland in inherent contempt of Congress, have the House Sergeant at Arms go arrest him and put Merrick Garland in the Capitol jail.
Mike Davis, thank you for being with us and sharing your insight on today, a very historic day in our Supreme Court, for our nation, for our Constitution. We appreciate your insight. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.